Hey, everybody, welcome to the Cynic's Roundtable Corner podcast. My name is Darrien Erien. I am a major in English studies. I am a freelance author. You may have seen my work in True Fictional American Magazine. And joining me today is Damien Husky. Damien, what's up, bud?
My name is Damien Husky. You may know me as the rightful owner and founder of the cynicshotgun.org, who was wrongfully ousted by my former partner, Elizabeth. Now I work as a freelance professor at any college campus.
You're really kind of a professor for hire, is that right?
I am a professor for hire. But you'll need to excuse our current audio quality. We are currently social distancing, as is being enforced by Big Brother. So I am currently recording from my bungalow in Tucson, Arizona.
Yep, and I am down in the basement of my parents' townhouse in Chester Hill, Vermont. And I just want to say this. I don't know about you, Damien, but as far as this COVID situation goes, I am on the fence, okay? I don't know if this was made in a lab. I don't know if it's entirely natural. I will do my own research and come up with my own opinions, but one thing I will not do, and I think you'll probably agree with me here on this point, is I will not take the government at their word. They have lied before. They'll lie again. They'll cover it up. They will do whatever it takes to keep the American people down and keep their pockets lined with that sweet green cash.
Absolutely. And speaking of keeping the American people down, let's segue right into today's SJW Freakout Corner.
Yep, so today I have a video that was sent to me by True American 993 over on Reddit, and this comes from r/SJW Freakout Corner /coolvideos.com. And what you've probably seen this floating around on the internet lately, but what we're looking at here is some purple-haired land whale, okay, and she's freaking out, okay? She's holding a BLM sign, okay? And this is, by the way, this is in downtown Oklahoma City, so not a lot of support for the movement down there, I might say. And fortunately, our true brave American who is filming in portrait mode approaches this purple-haired, okay, feminazi, okay, and she is just screaming about something. I can't even understand it. The shrieking and wailing is coming in at a hertz level that can only be heard by children and dogs. And Damien, do you want to say what you think she's talking about? Because I have my own theory, but we might have different opinions on what maybe she's talking about.
Well, from what I've seen from this video, I'm inclined to believe that she's screaming something about gender, something about not wearing a mask, something about systemic racism or reverse racism, or these lies that these SJWs are pushing to further the socialist takeover of America. And she's just going out of her way and making the day harder and making the work day harder for all these true-blooded Americans who just want to enjoy their day out in downtown Oklahoma City. And if you fast forward in the video, you do hear some true-blooded Americans responding to her, and they do. What do they say? There's a lot of wind in the mic of the video, so I can't exactly hear what they're saying.
Yeah, so it should be noted I did a little research on this video actually, and by research I mean I went and read the comments on Reddit, and this is actually taking place outside the U.S. Bank of the America USA branch division in downtown Oklahoma, and so these poor white collar employees, okay, they're just trying to walk back and forth from the local 7-Eleven to get their gas station sushi and then walk back to their offices before their boss gets mad. And this woman is taking up an enormous chunk of the sidewalk, okay, with her sign and with her blathering. And just these fine gentlemen are just trying to go about the workday, okay. I imagine now, just since this is episode number 1, we should make this clear. You and me, we do not fall either on the left or on the right, okay. There's idiots on both sides, okay. Am I right?
Absolutely, we believe that a solution lies in the middle, taking the best elements from each ideology and working off of that to find a solution that benefits the American people.
100% of the time, the answer can be found in the middle. Anyway, so these far left, okay, these people are leaning so far left, I'm surprised they haven't fallen over onto their left side and broken their left shoulder. Um, and they're just screaming and screaming. And then this true brave American, okay, now what I love about this is that he starts the video in selfie mode, and you can see he's wearing a very thin piece of cloth around his face. I'm assuming that his boss or the governor is enforcing a face mask policy, so he's wearing the thinnest possible piece of fabric. It's almost a mesh, I would say. And this man looks to be about 400 to 650 pounds, and he's got a single hair on his chin. That he so that he can tag his Instagram selfies with hashtag men with facial hair, and he goes right up to her and he says, "You know what? I'm just, you know what? I'm just trying to go about my day, and this is not very epic of you, okay? What an epic win for us, for centrists all over the world. Wouldn't you agree?"
I would absolutely agree. Um, and what would you didn't answer my question. What do you think she's screaming about?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was so far up my own ass that I forgot what you even had asked me. Yeah, so she seems to be saying, "No justice, no peace. Please make me some meat." That's just a funny little parody I just thought of just now. But she's actually saying something about justice and the police force. Okay, and if I could just climb up on my soapbox here, my slippery little soapbox is all covered in soapy suds. Um, you know what? The police, they kill black people. Yes, they also kill white people. Okay, and that's the other
And they
side of this
do,
that people
they
aren't
do.
seeing.
And when this happens, and when the white people are killed by the police, you don't hear these Black Lives Matter maniacs screaming about it like they do if one of their criminal friends gets
That's
killed,
right.
rightfully so, by a police officer.
Yeah, and this whole movement, and she's actually holding a sign with a picture of George Floyd. Now, what a lot of people don't know is actually George Floyd had a counterfeit $20 bill. Now, I don't know about you, but in my mind, if I was walking around with a counterfeit $20 bill and I tried to buy something with it, I would be deserving of death.
Absolutely, Damien. Now,
Oh, actually, you're Damien. I am
I,
Darien.
Damien, we gotta fucking start this again.
All right, welcome to the Cynic Roundtable corner. My name is Darien Erien,
My,
English major from Pishit, Vermont.
and as if you, my fellow red-blooded Americans, have been watching the news recently, you have seen the various forest fires that have been surging up and down the Pacific, up and down the West Coast, particularly in the Pacific Northwest area. Now it was said to be started by a variety of situations that kind of coagulated into this one, massive clusterfuck of fires, like like married couples doing gender reveal parties with flammable materials in the very dry woods in one of the driest seasons of the year, as well as other, oh God, goodness, what's the word? As well as other factors But I think that I know, and you, my fellow Americans, and you, my friend Darien, also know the real reason as to why these fires are being started and what the end goal of these fires is.
Yep. So the real perpetrators of this arson, these series of arsons, three words for you, bud. Antifa. Okay. The black mass vigilantes that have been running rampage in Portland, Oregon, the mecca of SJWBF, and they found their way down. They were, I guess, pushed south by the honorable Portland Police Department. Okay, they've been kicked out of their own town, and the federal troops that were sent in to quell the riots in Pooptown, USA. And they were sent south into the forests of Northern California.
Town
And
USA is what we refer to Portland as. Because it's gone to shit, am I right?
that's so true. That's so true. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Portland. I actually went there on
I've been to
vacation last
Portland,
year.
Maine.
Oh,
I've been to
Portland, Maine.
Portland, Maine.
Portland,
Yeah,
Maine, absolutely.
Portland, Maine. I
Yeah,
have a
see,
summer house up there. I bought it
you,
with my magazine money.
right, you've been to Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about Portland, Oregon.
I've never been to that
Okay,
part of the country. I've been outside the country very briefly when I went to the Turks and Caicos, but I have not been to that part of the country, no.
I'm telling you, Damien, you are not missing much. Okay, it's just
No, I
hobos.
figured.
It's hobo camps as far as the eye can see. There's a turd on every street corner, and on every other street corner where there isn't a turd, there's probably a feminist with blue hair shouting about something. Um, so yeah, so these Antifas, as they are known, these anti, I don't even know what they are, probably anti-law and order, if I had to
It
guess
says
by their actions.
it says the anti-fascist the Antifa, the FA in Antifa is set to stand for anti-fascist. But as you know and I know, that is a ultimate oxymoron and quite the redundancy.
Yeah, I would actually say, judging by what we see in the news, Antifa, okay, are actually the real fascists here. I don't know if you would agree with me on that. I know we're staunch centrists, but that's how I see it anyway. You know, they've gone so far left they come around to the right. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, your voice has changed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was testing out a couple of new voice modulators. I was trying to see if I could do the you ever seen the movie Moulin Rouge? I was trying to see if I could do the main female song from Moulin Rouge. To answer your
David,
question, no, I
David,
couldn't.
I need you to be honest with me, David. Are you huffing helium again?
No, I'm not huffing helium again.
Are you huffing helium again?
No,
Please
no, I
don't
am
lie to
not.
me.
I am not, and I'd appreciate it if you don't bring it up because I
I,
spent multiple years at my HA meetings. I got those chips and those tokens. I learned the Serenity Prayer, and I've been helium free for 5 years now.
Do I need to remind you what happened freshman year of high school when I went to your house to have your
We
gift?
did not go to the same high school.
Okay, wait do you stand? You're right. We did go to the same high school. My bad. I was thinking of someone else.
That's what I thought.
Um. Anyway, so as far as these fires go, okay, so these Antifa have been pushed into the forest. They have zero survival skills. Okay, they're probably
They have been having their pansexual orgies in these woods,
oh,
and
absolutely.
they've been saying this isn't a safe space for us. We're going to set these woods on fire because we do not feel safe here, and so nobody will be able to enjoy these woods once we are done with them and covered it in our piss and shit and cum and fire.
I have to imagine that they were trying to make some sort of improvised router device because they were so triggered that they couldn't access Tumblr.com. If I had to guess, and that probably exploded and started a fire. Damien, do you mind if I quote the great philosopher Maynard James Keenan here from
Absolutely.
his poem Anima, Anima, and there's a line in this poem I think is very applicable to what's happening right now. He says, "Here in this hopeless fucking hole we call LA, the only way to fix it is to flush it all away. Any fucking time, any fucking day. Learn to swim. See you down in Arizona Bay." And man, what a thinker, huh? What a deep thinker.
This is absolutely true. We here at the Centrists Roundtable or the Cynics Roundtable, excuse me, have always been big fans of the works of Maynard James Keenan, be it A Perfect Circle, Tool, Pucifer, his variety of solo works, as well as his ventures into film, like the movie Crank with Jason Statham.
And yeah, that was great. I loved how he played the Jason Statham character. They both do. They look very similar.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think we can both agree on this. I hate Instagram. Okay, it's for normies. Okay, it's
I do
for
not use Instagram. I am not on any social media as of a personal choice, despite what anybody else may say or has heard about my recent goings on about my YouTube channel getting deleted. I did not delete it. I deleted it of my own volition.
That's right. People
And
on our cynicism have been accusing Damien of having been bullied into absolute submission
I was
due
not.
to.
I am a strong class A alpha male.
Yep, these are
I
allegations. These are unproven.
these if you bring this up in the chat in the when we open the forums again, you will be banned, you will be blocked from, and you will not be allowed to donate on the Patreon.
And quite honestly, I will report your account. Okay, I have a personal relationship with the founder and CEO of Reddit, and I will report your account. And he prioritizes my reports over almost everyone else's.
Absolutely, I've been to his dinner parties, and he does talk about you quite a bit.
Now, but these allegations, and in this guilty until proven innocent society that we live in these days, these allegations on r/Minox Men for Christ, they've been they said you were roasted and toasted into absolute submission due to your 5-year struggle with your hairline. Literally your hairline, your line of hair that you have. But also some scandalous screenshots of texts and Twitter DMs that have come up in the past. Now, do you just want to clear the air here? Clear
Yes,
your name?
I'll be happy to clear my name here. It is true. I have had my struggles with my alopecia in the past. Anyone who has known me, Darien, for the long time you've known me, you've noticed that I have a rare condition called double hairline syndrome,
That's
where
right.
I was born with a hairline both on the front and back of my head, starting at my neck, and reaching into my middle age now. I've had numerous people bring up the fact that both my hairlines are receding at a alarming rate, reaching the exact center of my head to look like I'm wearing horrible skull candy headphones at all times. And this is my struggle, and I will say that I have been trying the program HIMS, that's HIMS, to help me get my hair back and get my confidence back. I have been considering surgery to replace the skin on the back of my head with the healthy skin of a youthful young man who has a regular hairline. Um,
And now
but
there were people on the board saying surgery might not be an option due to the fact that you were born without any hair below your eyebrows. absolutely no bodily hair whatsoever.
No, it is true. I have what is called swimmer's body. I have no chest hair. I have no hair anywhere on my body, including my eyelashes, which is very painful, especially when I'm in a dusty or dry area. My eyes get dry very easily, so I must have my re-wetting drops or my special glasses on at all times.
And the kind of people that might make jokes about this, that might say, "Oh well, if I ever want to defeat you in combat, I would merely need to blow sand into your face." The kind of people who would make jokes like that, or who might say something like, "Yes, due to the line of hair going horizontally across your scalp, sat from ear to ear, and the humongous puffs of thick black hair in your ears," might say something like, "Oh, it looks like you might be a DJ or some sort of music fanatic."
And I say to them, no, I am not a DJ. I do not support the club culture. At one point in time, I might have said otherwise, but I have grown older and I have grown wiser, and I am not a part of that life anymore. But
and
I
then
do. Go
they'll
ahead.
say something like, "Well, I saw you at the YMCA last Tuesday, and you were DJing, you were spinning Christian rock," and they'll
And I
say,
said to them, no, I was not DJing, but I was showing the new sound technician of that YMCA how to properly set up a MIDI uplink to Ableton to get the ultimate bit rate on these songs that he is pirating from with YouTube to MP3.
and then they'll say something like, "Well,
I was not DJing. I was merely using my advanced technical knowledge to help him to help this young lad, this beautiful young man, make the best of his job and pull himself up by his bootstraps, which he was doing by DJing at this YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association."
And then they would say something like, "Well, I have this portrait vertical video of you scratching and crying and looking and putting your hands in the air and saying, 'Party people, put your hands in the air if you're having a good time.'" And then he'll say, "Well, if you watch the video, I pan across and there's no one there. I'm the only person there, and you were crying and sobbing and weeping, and it's actually short-circuiting the electronics so that the music is skipping and scratching." And they'll say something like that sometimes.
Once again, as you can see, if you look at the video, you can see that I am not alone. I have the young man from the YMCA standing, but he was standing behind me, and due to my large frame, I I was you could not see him because he was a very small, very lithe man. And I was merely showing him the proper way to get a crowd moving, how to get a crowd on your side through crying, through tears, through how to get proper glitch patches on your Pioneer DJ deck, and that is what I was doing.
And then they might say something like, "Well, here's a picture of the flyers that were stapled all over town on every post, on every telephone post and street corner and bill and bulletin board for the community." They'll say, "And look here, how you said, bring your friends. It's going to be a packed house. Everyone you know will be there. It's the place to be on a Tuesday night." And then you'll say you said it's just the one-man DJ team of Damien Husky, the Musky Dusky, and you'll say that you're spitting the hits, everything from Under Oath to Kenny Chesney, and then they'll say, "Well, if you look, I actually took this video up the side, and there's no one standing behind you, and you're obviously lying, and you're actually crying right now. I can tell that you're crying." Because you're making so many typos on r/Christian DJs for Christ.
I am not a Christian. This is a known fact. I am not a Christian. I am a longtime atheist. I'm a spiritual atheist. And this is clearly, once again, a smear campaign against me by the local Democratic Socialist Party to disgrace my good name, to rake the mud over my good name, to discredit my flyers and the publications that I put out very legitimately to spread the good news of centrism, of cynicism, of rational and logical thinking to the American people. This is a smear campaign and nothing more. And any proof has been doctored. Any quote-unquote proof that has been shown has been doctored, has been photoshopped, has been faked, and I have the people to prove it, and I have the silent majority on my side to come to my aid whenever I need them to be there.
And then they'll say something like, well, it's funny that you said that the images were doctored because it looks like you've never been to a doctor in your life. They usually say something like that.
And I say to them, you shut your mouth. I go to a doctor once every month. I am in peak physical condition. I am a beautiful 35 years young man. My parents came over from Poland. I changed my last name because you cannot pronounce it, because it is not the right way to live as an American. Your name must be easy to pronounce. In my stint for governor, that was a big selling point in my campaign.
Do you want to actually spell out your last name for us here, letter by letter?
My which one?
Your true Polish last name.
My true Polish last name. It's Husawicz. Howicz.
As always is this.
Husawicz, yes.
Now, do you want to actually take some time out to talk about your run for governor, or do you want to save that for a separate episode?
I think we should save that for a separate episode because it is a very riveting and juicy story.
There's definitely a lot there to talk about. A lot of twists and turns, deception, backstabbing.
Absolutely. And just to end this diatribe of slander against me, I will say that I am incredibly healthy. Darien, you know I am very healthy. I'm a very healthy man.
Yeah, I've seen your selfies. You're 3'5" and 600 pounds. You're looking great.
I am 3'5" and I am 600 pounds of pure muscle. I am a record 5 feet wide. I also have a rare condition, as well as my balding. I have a rare condition where instead of growing taller, I grow wider. And that is something that I'm living with. And I don't want anybody bringing this up in public because it is not a gentlemanly or a kind or polite thing to do, and you should know better than that.
That's right. They say that when you sit on a bench, it looks like you are sitting on a stool.
This is true. I will not lie. I do have issues sitting in certain seats, like at theaters. I usually need to sit in the aisles, and it's very much a nuisance for other people. But facts don't care about your feelings, and I think that they can just get over it. Cry a river, build a bridge, get over it.
Absolutely. For instance, if someone were to come in once the movie had already started, the lights had gone down, and there you are sitting on the aisle, they might trip and fall and break a bone, maybe slip on some soda and fall all the way down the stairs and go head over heels, maybe land on a skateboard, crash into someone that's holding one of the ushers that's holding a plate of wine glasses, and crash, and then maybe run over a cat that and finally crash through the movie screen, leaving a perfect human-shaped hole in the screen. And say if something were to, hypothetically, not say that actually has happened to you, or is something that.
Oh, it has. It has happened. I will say that it has happened.
Yeah.
Yes, there is video footage. It is very popular in certain circles, the circles of which I will not name. But
would that be r/funny fails videos in portrait mode?
No, it's very popular among young Estonian teenagers.
Oh yes, on eBob's World, I believe they're still using
on
that
eBob's
website.
World. Yes.
Wow, Estonia. Welcome to the 21st century, am I right?
Absolutely, Estonia. Although some might say Estonia is living the better life in the golden age of the internet, but I digress. Darien, tell me, I have heard recently that you have started your, what would you call it? A freedom garden? Can you explain that to us, please?
Absolutely, that's right. But the neighbor to the left of me, we live on a two-house street. The two houses are almost
What is this?
messed.
What is the name of this street?
This is Penis Street in
How
Shitpiss,
do you
Vermont.
spell that?
That would be spelled Baenizz. Baenus.
Banus?
Baenus Street.
Okay, and you live in what town in Vermont?
That would be a Shide Hayes.
Can you spell that out for me, please?
I would be more than happy to. That is CHAEITP. That's it.
Is that
Shite.
it?
That's right.
Shite?
Yep. You can
All
go
right.
to Google Maps right now and type in Shite just for
Is that a Scandinavian community?
as far as I know, that is actually Eastern Estonian. But I would know I'm not part of that ethnic group, so I wouldn't want to make an assumption
What
there.
ethnic group are you?
I am Southeastern European, white, Caucasian. My family hails from southeastern Ukraine, the first people to surrender to Vladimir Putin during his military campaign onto Ukraine. We are no cowards. We are no thieves and
I
liars.
personally think you may have some facts wrong there, but I digress. I've met your
Uh,
mother. She's very
you-
old, and she
You
has
dare
come.
challenge me on the facts? You dare challenge me on the facts, Damien? I'll remind you, facts don't care
Don't care
about
about your
your
feelings.
opinion.
That's
Your feelings. That's
no,
right.
your feelings. Yes, that's right. I'm testing you to see if you're still on our side because you started mentioning, immigration. You started talking about these people in a very positive, very almost friendly light, and I didn't particularly care for it. So I just wanted to test. I wanted to see if you were still on the path.
That's right. When it comes to immigration, I fall strictly in the center. But some of them are good people. Some of them are bad people. Honestly,
Absolutely.
I think everyone should just stay where they are. I think if you have a problem with your country and the way that it's run, you should maybe try and change things instead of running away to somewhere else. But that's just my
Absolutely.
opinion. That's just my
Absolutely.
opinion.
Anyway, Freedom Garden.
Freedom Garden USA,
Freedom Garden.
copyright pending.
Tell us about your
Pending.
Freedom Garden.
Yep. So there, it's between our two houses on the street. There is about a 10-inch strip of land that runs between the houses, and now our families have been feuding for a generation now. This has started before I was born, feuding over who owns this strip of land. They've gotten the mayor involved. They've gotten the government involved. They've gotten Senator Bernie Sanders involved. Of course, he had a very he had a very leftist, very socialist. Oh, we should share the strip of land.
I would figure.
It was absolutely disgusting. I told him to frick off and to get off my porch. He
Quite
said,
strong language.
Well, when you're dealing with a traitor to the nation, you have to make
You
yourself known.
absolutely, you have to make your point. I am not one for use of profanity or cursing, but in a situation such as that, I understand its usage. Now,
That's
I must
right.
ask before you continue.
Sure.
This house that you live next to, tell me about it. Are there neighbors there? How many people live there?
Yep. So it is actually a 10-story townhouse. It's very
10-story.
10-story. That's right.
How many floors is that?
That would be 10 floors plus 2 basements and an attic.
Two basements. Is it side by side or one on top of another?
It's going to be one on top of another. There's a little
So one is a
hatch you can
basement
open.
and one is a sub basement.
Right. Some people might call it a cellar. I like to call it
a root basement.
That's right. And it's got a glass bottom. I don't know why, because it just looks directly into the
Storing
dirt.
grain.
Well, to be quite frank, To be quite frank, I don't know what the Estonians stored on there. Okay, I dare not ask. Okay, I don't think I
You
want
live
to
in a
know.
very Estonian community. This is known.
That's right. Everyone is stoned all the time.
That's a very funny joke. As a libertarian, you know my opinions on marijuana. I say light it up, spark it up, smoke it up. Those are the
You
big
were off.
three.
I know your quote that you have on the bottom of all your forum posts. Your signature
Yeah.
says "Smoke them if you got them,"
Yep.
and a
I am
picture
not
of a weed
talking
leaf.
about cigarettes.
Oh no,
No,
you are
no.
not, my
I am
friend.
not talking about cigarettes.
You're talking about that wacky tobacco.
I am talking about marijuana.
Yep, and actually, it's funny you mentioned marijuana because actually, when I'm planting in the Freedom Garden USA, pending copyright pending, trademark pending, is actually I'm planting 2 by 20 rows of hemp plants, and I plan to harvest the hemp and convert it into hemp cotton and make my own little sweatshirts out of it, little sweatshirts and sweatpants. And the cops have come by multiple times, say, hey, dig these plants up. This is illegal. You're not growing hemp. You're growing pure marijuana. Actually the strongest strain we've ever seen, in America, quite honestly. And they say you need to get rid of this. And then they take a look around. They see my poppy plants. They say, "Oh, are you harboring this to make opium?" And I say, "I don't know how those got there. To be quite frankly, officer." Uh, and but I have a hankering that my father might be using them. I think he's making homemade Xanax and Oxycontin, but that's besides the point. Uh,
How
so
old is
multiple
your
times,
father
my
again?
father is 22 years old. He had me when he
How
was
how
2 years
old are
old.
you?
I am 20 years old.
How does that work?
Strong as speed.
Was it kind of like a in vitro fertilization? Were you a
Yep,
test tube child?
that's right. Yeah, he actually came out pregnant. They had to do a baby C-section.
He came out. Oh, so it was more of like a parasitic sibling type situation.
It was a virgin birth. It was
It was like when there are two twins in the mother's womb, and one absorbs the other. So you didn't die in the womb, but instead got absorbed into your brother or into your father and or brother's stomach and
that's right.
become a baby.
That's right. Absorbed into his uterus. He has, of course, both sets of genitals.
Wow,
And yes,
very
unfortunately,
interesting.
his tiny little child pussy was way too tight to birth. Was way too tight to birth me.
Oh,
So they
excuse
had
me.
to perform a C-section.
Ah, okay. Now, this Freedom Garden.
Freedom
Are you?
Guardian USA, patent pending, copyright
Yes.
pending.
I'm sorry. Freedom Garden USA, copyright pending, patent, copyright pending. Is it a? Is it just these plants, or is there also are there vegetables? Are there things that could be used to free yourself from the slavery of having to go to the grocery store?
No, I don't believe.
Which I know for you is all the way in Burlington because
Right.
the town of Shef does not have a grocery store.
That's right. It's a 120-mile drive to the grocery store. But God damn it, we do it every week. Um, now, as you know, I don't believe in actually eating vegetables. I believe all the nutrients that the human body needs to be gained from red meat. And so, while I don't believe in anyone being enslaved or being enslaved by the government or by laws or by feminists trying to push their agendas, I will I will happily shackle my hands and feet and work and pick the cotton for McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Um, Now, you said that this is a, and I'm interested because I have been I have been to your town. We have
That's right.
met up in your town. This is true, but I have not been on your street. Can you describe your street for the listeners, just so we could get a visual, just to
Yep.
see what it's like? Because you said it's a two-house street.
Right. That's right.
Is it? Yes, describe it, please.
Yep. So the two houses are side by side on the north side of the street. The street itself is a one lane, one way dirt road. Uh, and it kind of runs parallel to a high embankment. Commonly, we have a lot of mudslides, a lot of rock slides. In the winter, it kind of fills up almost to completely covering my house, but almost covering the Estonian 10-story townhouse with
Yeah.
snow. It's like a big basin because the road sits between.
Is it a divot in the road? Is that where you are?
That's right. Yes, we are at a low point in the road, sort of two high embankments on either side, sort of a pass cutting through a mountainous, hillless region. Uh, Now it runs east to west, and if you go all the way west, which is about 2 miles west from where we live, you will find yourself in driving directly into a lake. It's a small lake, but extremely deep. One of the deepest lakes on the planet.
How deep is this lake?
It is about 10,000 feet deep.
Wow.
Wow. Yes, indeed. No one has been able to get to the bottom. Anyone who's tried has been crushed and killed by the pressure.
That's
there's
that's wow.
Yeah,
What's the
there's
name?
lots of skeletons
this
down there.
lake? How deep is this lake? Would you consider it a lake or more of a pond? More of some kind of
Some people call it a lake.
Maybe a basin.
Some people call it a
Cistern, if
lake
you will.
or a basin. Yeah, something like that. Most people just call it a watery portal to hell or a salty grave.
I
It is
could
a saltwater
understand.
lake.
I could understand why they think that. Here in
Absolutely.
Arizona, as you know, we have very little bodies of water,
That's
but
right.
we make do with what we have. Back when I was a young man growing up, and I grew up in Tucson, and I am now currently, bunkering down in my bungalow in Tucson. My mother used to fill a stew pot. I was a very small child. She used to fill, a big stew pot, the kind you would put a clam boil or perhaps a large stew to feed a large family in. She would fill it up with water and with sand, and she would put me in, and she would say, "Look, Damien, look, my son, you are actually, this might be a good time to test the voice mod."
And she would say, "Damien, my son, look, close your eyes. You are at a lake. You are in the water. How does it feel, my son?"
And I would be thrilled.
And would she ever maybe put the pot on a low boil and say,
Yes,
"We're going to the hot springs, Damien. We're
and
going to
she
the
would
hot
say,
springs."
and she would say, "Damien, we're going to the hot springs. We're going to the local hot springs, Damien. And I'm an evil witch. I'm gonna cook you into a stew." And that was our game. That was our little game we'd play after my father unfortunately passed away in a tragic boating accident.
And let's put that. Let's note that accident has quotation marks around it. That it's still being investigated.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a boating accident. He was leaning over to quote vomit like the Dickens into the water.
And who are you quoting there?
Vomit like the Dick. No, I was there. I saw it happen. I was on the boat. Yes, I was
You
on the
said
boat.
that. You said that.
Yeah,
You're quoting yourself.
no. He said that to me. He said, Damien, my boy, I'm going to vomit like the Dickens into this water.
And those were his last words.
Those were his last words because he leaned over. He didn't realize that he still had the outboard motor going. Nobody was steering the boat. And surprisingly, it wasn't the crash that killed him, but it was him leaning over and shredding his face into what I can only describe as a bowl of borscht mixed with strawberry jam into the outboard motor.
And now now that all sounds fine, and it sounds like an accidental death to be sure. But the investigation found it quite odd that he had 78 stab wounds in his back and into the back of his neck, and they say that the angle and sort of the force that would have had to be exerted would be consistent with the strength of a child.
That is merely coincidental. My father was, as you know, he was a Vietnam War veteran. He was also served in Desert Storm. He was very young when he served in Vietnam.
How old was he
And
when he served in Vietnam? If he would have been still
he
been,
was, he was 17. He was 10 years old.
wow, they were
And
that
when they
desperate.
yes, no, when they found him out, they kicked him out. They dishonorably discharged him. Then
So
he
he's
went
sort of
back,
a war vigilante, a
kind of.
vigilante
Yes,
soldier.
you would say that. Then he went back, to serve in Kuwait during Desert Storm.
Now was he officially enlisted?
Yes, he was officially listed that time, but he had him being a war veteran. He was not a stranger to scars of battle, to having some wounds that couldn't even heal, some physically, some mentally. He was a hemophilia. He was hemophilic, so he does bleed very easily. So, and I did explain this to the district attorney and to the police officers, and they were very nice about it. And they said, "Okay, we're going to look at his records, and we're going to see if this matches up." And it did match up. And my father's body now rests in the Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for our sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Cemetery in Tucson.
Now, is it true? Of course, I wasn't old enough to attend, but I believe you told me at one point that he had an open casket
He did.
funeral,
It was half open.
and he
It
insisted on
wasn't
that.
quite all the way open, but it was angled just enough that you could maybe shine a candle or a flashlight inside, and you could see
You could
his
see
body.
the horror, the
Yes, you could
horror.
see the horror of. They did not embalm him. That was his wishes. He tried. He wanted to go out like Gigi Allen. He did not want to be embalmed. His face looked like a eggplant parmesan grinder. And it was funny. After the funeral, we all went
Oh, it
and
was
got.
funny.
And no, it was funny. It was just not
The
funny in the
funeral was funny.
not funny in the laughing way, but in the way of, oh, this is quite a coincidence. This is quite a. We went and we got eggplant parmesan sandwiches after the funeral.
And now, whose idea was that to get the sandwiches that
That was
resembled your
actually
dead
that,
father's destroyed face?
that was actually my mother's idea. That was not
Oh,
my
yes.
idea. She was a good woman, but she had her problems.
She was a good, so she has passed on as well.
Yes, very recently, I might add.
And what was the circumstances surrounding her death, if that's something that you or kid talk about at this point?
Well, I, as you know, my mother does not live in Tucson. When my father passed away, she and I, as I still lived with her at the time, moved up to Boulder, Colorado, and we lived there for a very long, prosperous time in my life. I said, "Mom, I think it's time. I'm going to move back to Tucson," and she, respected my decision, and I moved back to Tucson. But it was only till recently when I was up there visiting her, and I was staying in the guest room. I was sleeping soundly, having my usual dreams of Monica Bellucci and Vanna White and all these beautiful ladies, and
And
and,
Monica Lewinsky,
and Monica Lewinsky. She could suck. and
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Am I right? Well, maybe you did. Maybe you did.
I did. I wish. I wish. And and I heard outside what sounded like wood being chopped and screaming and chanting, and I looked out my window. I opened my window, and there was my mother throwing herself onto a funeral pyre, and she was screaming, "I'm coming, Douglas! I'm coming, Douglas!" My father's
Now,
name was
who?
Douglas, if you couldn't infer from there.
Oh,
Um,
I see. I see.
yes, she committed a ritual sacrifice, and there were little homemade totems and dolls made to resemble my father, and pieces of Sanskrit literature littered around the fire. But I thought nothing of it. I called the police. I
Oh,
said,
you thought nothing. You thought nothing of it.
No, I thought nothing of it. My mother was a weird woman. She was into weird things. I will say, I love her. I
You
loved
did.
her.
You didn't
I
think she
loved.
was in danger, might have been hurt, or anything like that.
No,
You just
no,
thought nothing of it.
no, no. She's been through worse. I thought, and if she was in danger,
She would have let you know. She would
she
have
would have
told
let
you.
me know. And it was already too late because she was already on fire while she was saying that. And Next morning, I called I slept very soundly. I called the police,
Oh,
and I said,
you didn't call the police until the day
no,
after.
no, I did not. I did not want to disturb them at that hour. So I called the
Very
police.
polite, very polite.
I respect our law enforcement. I called the police and I said, now you list. Now I didn't say now you list. I said,
No. Yeah.
excuse, excuse me, officer. My mother has burnt herself to a crisp on a India, as in the subcontinent style funeral pyre. I'm not entirely sure as to why she did that, but now she is laying on a smoldering pile looking like a toasted piece of garlic bread. And they said, "Okay, sir, we will look at it right away." And I hung up the phone and I left that morning.
And now, how old were you when this happened?
This was quite literally 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Now,
2 weeks.
I've looked over the report just just out of curiosity.
How did you get this report? Is it a public record?
Well, now, of course, I went on to r/secret police reports thetruthrevealed.com and reddit.com/r truth reports the police reports revealed secrets of the police that they don't want you to know. And I found the
Is that
report.
all one word? Is that
That's
all?
all
Is it
one word.
hyphenated or is it all? Is it? Oh no. Okay, it's a run.
It's
Okay.
separated by capital letters, but not the first letter of every word, just random letters throughout.
And what happens if you combine those capital letters into one word? Does it make a word?
Uh, Yes, it spells out "Help me! I am trapped. I am confined in a brick wall on 123 Petus Street in Scheitz, Vermont." Of course, that's not my street, not my address, and I have not looked into that. But that's besides the point. Now I've looked over the police report, the details.
We'll get back to that. Continue.
Absolutely, we'll save that for another episode. Am I right?
Oh no. We'll talk about it after this. You now save. Now save. Now tell me what did you see in these reports?
Sure, I looked over the reports. I looked over the crime scene photos. I looked over witness statements and everything. And
How many witnesses were there?
there was 300,000 witnesses.
How did they see this?
Well, they were gathered around. That was the chanting you might have heard. They were sort of posted in the forest around Boulder, around your house in Boulder. Yeah, in the trees, in dugouts, in the ground, things like that.
Okay.
Chanting and watching.
Yes. Was there a report as to what they were chanting?
They were saying something like, "Oh hell yeah, this is cool. Jump on the fire. I'm filming this in portrait mode. This is awesome. This is gonna get us on ridiculousness with Rob Deerdeck." Something like that. I'm not quoting word for word. That's just sort of paraphrasing what I remember.
My mother was a big fan of ridiculousness.
She's a big fan of Rob Deerdeck.
She's a big Rob Deerdeck enthusiast. So I can imagine. Now that I think about it, she was not. She instead of saying Douglas, I imagine I could have misheard it over the chanting, and
She might have been saying like Rob.
She might have been no. She might have been saying ridiculousness. She said, "I'm
Oh,
coming, ridiculousness. I'm coming, ridiculousness."
Wow, that's such
Yeah.
devotion. And
Yeah.
now they do have at the beginning of Ridiculousness a disclaimer that says, "Don't send us any footage. We won't even look at any footage you send us." So it was kind of all in vain, and she really never ended up on the show. But I applaud the dedication nonetheless.
Yes, I'm sure if she could hear you today, she would appreciate it very much. Now, what else did these police reports say? Because if you were trying to accuse me of something when I did nothing.
Not accused. I'm just bringing up a detail you didn't mention. Maybe you weren't even aware. The 78 stab wounds in her back and in the back of her neck that would be consistent with a 35-year-old, 3'5", 600-pound man, 5 feet wide, as wide as he is, wider than he is tall, but certainly as wide as he is deep. The 78 stab wounds in the back of her neck.
That once again, my mother was also in the war. She served as a combat nurse in Desert.
Is that how they met?
Yes, that's how they met in Desert Storm.
Wow.
She served as a combat nurse, and she was stabbed 72 times in the neck by a
That's right.
Kuwaiti gorilla who snuck up behind her while she was in Kuwait.
And and how many stabs did it take, do you think, for her to notice her throat, the back of her throat was being punctured, sort of her
What?
spinal cord being scraped by a blade?
She had no feeling in her neck,
Wow.
specifically due to a burn injury when she was a child. That she had 8th degree burns on the back of her neck, and
Did she ever tell you how those came about? I'd be
yes,
curious about how someone
yes,
gets 8th-degree burns only on their neck.
she was trying to get a cup of coffee when
Oh
she
yeah,
was and
a child.
she was 10. That's perfectly, enough to try coffee, maybe a light roast
That's
or
the
a
age of consent in some countries, if you know what I'm saying.
or a decaf, and she reached too far under the coffee machine and it squirted the coffee on the back of her neck and gave her 8th degree burns.
Now, was she wearing some sort of fireproof suit or some sort of very thick material so that it didn't burn the rest of her body and only her neck was burned?
No, she was not. It was a very well aimed stream of coffee.
Wow. Wow, very accurate, like a sniper rifle shot of coffee to the throat.
Absolutely. Anyway, that is those stab wounds were not of anybody that I would know. Anybody that I would know of doing, those were already there.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Now,
Let's
your
go
parents'
ahead.
meeting, at Desert Storm, I have to say, answers a very important, very deep philosophical question posed by the video game Metal Gear Solid 3, directed by Hideo Kojima, in which the question is posed, not answered, but posed up to the gamer to decide: can love bloom on the battlefield? And in this
And
case, yes.
yes, it is true.
Yeah.
Love can, in fact, bloom on the battlefield.
And also neck wounds.
And also neck wounds can also
And
bloom
neck
on the
wounds.
battlefield. And neck
Absolutely.
wounds.
Well, I would say I think we talked about everything that we wanted to talk about and that we came
Well,
in prepared to talk about.
hold on. There's one thing I want to save for last.
Sure.
Yes, I recently, as you know, have done a welfare check, not a welfare, but a, checking in on you in these tough times. I checked on you. I came to your house in
That's right.
Vermont,
You broke
and
quarantine.
I didn't break quarantine. I stayed outside on your porch. And while it was a very quiet outside, because it is very quiet in your area,
It is frighteningly quiet. The
it
trees
is.
absorb sound like a thick blanket.
There is no birds singing.
No
There is
animals.
no wind
They
rushing.
they sort of
No.
avoid the area. There's talk of Native American cursives that may have been placed that the animals sort of know to stay away from instinctually.
Yeah, yeah. I heard in your small in the metal hatch to your basement in the back of your house,
That's
I
right.
heard a voice, a young male voice, saying, "Please help me. Please get me out of here. I'm I am in a lot of pain. I do not know how I ended up here, but please help me. Somebody please help me. I left the codes on the subreddit. Please come and help me." Now,
Now,
can you explain?
did he mention which subreddit by any chance, or just the subreddit?
No. He did actually say. He said, "I left the codes on," and he said, "I hope you have a pen and paper." And he said, the police files they didn't want you to see and didn't want you to know about / the ultimate police secrets revealed to you and you alone.com.
So he said, I hope you have a pen and paper. So he knew you were out there, even though he was locked in the soundproof and
I was what
20-foot underground bunker that we have in the backyard. Is that
how
right?
would you
Am I supposed to believe that?
how
Am I
how would
supposed to believe these lies that you're trying to tell me about someone who might be may or may not be locked in my bunker that we have in the backyard that's
how would
locked
you
from the
know?
outside.
I said nothing about a bunker.
Well, you had mentioned a metal hatch, and when there is
No,
multiple metal hatches in my house,
no.
I
Was
assumed you
referring.
would have meant the bunker in the backyard.
I knew nothing about a bunker. I was referring to the metal storm door that would lead down the stairs to your basement.
Well, the basement is a whole other can of words. If you want to get into that, but you should be more clear and more specific when you're talking about things that you may or may not know about what may or may not be going on.
I assume you knew what I meant.
Well, you can't just talk about a metal hatch in my house and assume I know which one you're referring to. I mean, come on, you've got to be a little more specific, or else I may or may not say something that may or may not have
there was
happened.
there was a lot of blood I saw streaking across the walls.
Well, again, yeah, there's a lot of blood all over my house. The walls tend to bleed. Something about a Native American curse. I'm not entirely sure. The walls bleed and the ceiling drips blood. It's very annoying when you're trying to sleep.
I can imagine. Yes, I just wanted to see if I could clear that up, give you a chance to clear your name to.
If I had to guess, I would say it was probably my brother, by Gen Z. I'm sorry.
Who is your brother?
My brother Patches. My brother Craig Patches. The third.
Craig
Erien.
Is Patches his nickname?
Nope. Actually, Craig is his nickname. His birth name his Christian name is Patches.
Wow. Why do you call him Patches?
Because he doesn't have any eyes. He has empty, bloody sockets. So we put 2 eye patches on. I'm sorry?
Was he born this way?
I think so, but I wasn't there, so I couldn't say.
How old is he?
He is 12 years old. He is a Gen Z TikTok addict.
You said you are 22 years old?
That's right.
That would have made
No, I'm sorry. My father is 22. I'm 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. That would have put you at, let's see, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. That would have put you at, I would say, 9 years old at the time.
9 years old. That's right. Yep.
Time of his birth. So how do you not know how he lost his eyes?
Well, I simply didn't go to the hospital. I said, Father, I won't. I said, Father, I am gaming. Leave me alone. He said, Son, you have the chance to witness the miraculous sight of a male birth. Of course, being that he was 12 years old, my father was 10. I was 8. And I said, Father, no, I'm gaming. I'm playing StarCraft 2. I think that adds up with the timeline. It's StarCraft 2 was out at that point, 12 years ago. I said, no, Father, I simply won't. When he came home, the baby had no eyes. I don't know what else to tell you, quite frankly.
Well, see, that's funny, because I talked to your
father.
That's
funny?
Yes.
That's funny? You're laughing about it? You're laughing about my brother's birth defect?
Yes.
Okay, I am too. I often laugh at him about it as well.
I understand. Now,
it's very easy to make fun of a man with no eyes.
It is.
You can go up to him and say, "Hey, no eyes," something like that.
Is he in on it, or is he?
No, he hates it, and it makes him suicidal to the point where we can't allow him to have shoelaces in his shoes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, I was wondering about this mysterious back to the voice in your basement. He said, I'm in the second basement, but as I recall, you only have one basement.
That's right. We just have one massive basement. It's 1,200,000 square feet.
It's bigger than the house.
That's right. It's almost as big as the state itself, to be quite honest.
So this is more of a bunker?
It's more of an underground dwarven palace, I would say. Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
I have no, I have not.
Okay, well then never mind.
I don't really watch films that are sanctioned by
You
the
said
American
you said
government.
now I think you told me that you don't like films that depict things that could never happen in real life. Is that right?
Yes, I find them to be childish fantasies, like the Christian religion, and one
Oh,
that would be easily debunked by if a rational atheist were to watch this movie, which I did not.
perhaps we should do a debunking Lord of the Rings someday.
Someday. Now, on to our next topic.
Hmm.
This is small town situation, where we
Small
discuss
town situations.
where we discuss. We're still working on that theme song. Now
Well, I think
we
it's perfect, but I guess it needs more work. That's fine.
it needs
I
instruments.
thought I nailed it. I thought it was perfect.
Your pitch was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we talk about various situations that happen in our small towns. Now, let's start with you. Tell me about the situation in Shates, in Shates, Vermont, and its local history, its attractions.
Absolutely, I'd love to. I live in what would be the very definition, the very dictionary definition of a small town. Of course, it's one road. We've discussed a very, very deep portal to hell, two houses. But as far as local attractions and what else is in the town, there is a 7-Eleven, and right next to the 7-Eleven is the gallows, which have stood since the 1700s when the pioneers first came over and
Wow.
decided that they needed to purge the community. Um, and upon these gallows, if you go around the back, is carved a message. It simply says, "Believe not what thee hath been told. I, Elizabeth Mackenzie, am not a witch." And if you sort of look up the local record books, if you drive 140 miles to the nearest library, you look up Elizabeth Mackenzie.
In Burlington.
She in Burlington, in the Burlington Coat Factory library of you can look up.
The Vermont headquarters of Burlington Coat Factory is radically different than the nationwide.
That's right. In the town of Burlington, the Burlington Coat Factory sort of serves as the town square, sort of a downtown.
Yes.
It's compressed into one department store. So you've got your library, your theater, your shops, coffee shops, cafes, et cetera, surrounded by coats and lots of Mark Echo clothing.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes. So
Hurley.
I'm sorry.
And Hurley.
Oh, you're talking about Hurley.
Hurley.
That's a different story entirely.
Brand Hurley.
No, the brand's Hurley. Yes. The brand that will make you hurl, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
That wasn't very funny. Anyway, if you look up Elizabeth Mackenzie's name at the Burlington Coat Factory local library, which is 140 miles from my house, you will find that she was tried as a witch at the age of 8 years old because she did a cartwheel. But someone said, well, the devil must have been pulling on her ankles and flipped her over like that. And she was hung by the neck twice to make sure she was dead.
Twice.
Yes. Yep.
Now tell me about
you can never trust that a witch will die from the first hanging, is what the old expression goes.
Tell me about this Native American curse.
Yeah, so when the pioneers arrived, they were heavily armed. These were very much, as we would call them now, sort of Second Amendment pioneers.
Alphas.
Yeah, alphas, absolutely. Big swinging dicks, strong jawlines, and the such. Perfect hairlines, and funny little buckle hats. And they were armed to the teeth, quite literally. Their teeth were replaced by bullets.
Wow.
So if they were ever in a last stand situation, they were out of ammunition, they could just rip out one of their teeth and load it into a musket. And the first thing they did when they got there, the Native Americans met them with nothing but smiles, dances, peace offerings, food, and they simply opened fire and eliminated over 1,200 Apache Indians. Actually, I don't think that tribe was over there, but eliminated the native tribe there with a volley of fire within mere moments. Slaughtered
was their
women.
right.
Such was their right, absolutely. Yeah, manifest destiny and all that.
Now the curse.
That's right. The curse. There was one woman who was sort of left alive in a pool of her own blood, having been shot in the throat. And with her dying words, she muttered a curse that the land would be barren and no animals would live and the crops would die. And more or less that actually happened. Now, whether you could say that was the curse or the simply bumbling arrogance and lack of know-how of the settlers is up for debate. It's up for debate, but certainly,
Now, on the mention of this crops dying,
yes.
may I suggest that it would be quite a boon, maybe a little bit of a laugh, if you were to check on your freedom garden right now.
Yeah, let me just go over to the window here. Let me just take a few steps over to my window. Let me just take a few steps here. And oh my God, would you believe it? My freedom garden has wilted and perished before my very eyes. Well, darn
Wow.
it. Dang it and darn it.
Well, I think you should go outside and replant it. Maybe take your whatever you're using to record with you outside, and you could do a little outside report, like Alex Jones.
Well, as you know, the replanting of a freedom garden could take hours and days, but I could certainly go and investigate the seed if that's what you would like me to do.
Yes. Use your logic and your reason and your deduction.
Sure. Let me take a look here. I'm just going to head out the door. Right. Let's see what's going on here. I'm looking at the soil.
What is the temperature outside?
It is currently 130 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade.
Is it dark?
Yes, the sky is covered by thick, dark clouds. However, it's not raining. At the moment here in Vermont, it is actually about 10 past 12. So the sun should be absolutely blaring. However, these thick black clouds have covered any sunlight whatsoever.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, I'm sifting through the soil now. I'm going to take some samples, and okay, sure enough, yep, the soil is dripping with blood. Actually, now as I look up toward the clouds, I've heard a thunder crack, and now the sky is raining blood onto the ground.
Wow.
Geysers of blood sort of are shooting up from all around me. I should probably head inside at this point.
Yeah. Now look again in the soil. Is the black part of the soil not in soil, but in fact a bunch of dead beetles and millipedes?
That's right. Actually, as I sort of pick up my feet and look at the bottom of my shoes, it is just bugs that have been crushed under my weight. They sort of are writhing and screaming in agony.
How much do you weigh? Can you describe yourself to the listener?
Sure. Yes, I'm 7'2". At the moment, I'm currently wearing a sort of a onesie pajamas, sort of underwear, and I am
thermal underwear.
That's right. It does get pretty cold. However, today, as I said, this being September, normally it would be somewhere maybe in the 60 degree Fahrenheit range. It is 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so I am feeling a little warm. Wearing thick cotton pajamas. And yes, I weigh 35 pounds. I'm 7'2". A very thin man.
Rail thin.
Rail thin. Actually thinner. I would say string thin. Sort of I am. Literally skin and bones. Not an ounce of muscle in my body. I look like a skeleton that someone has vacuumed a flesh suit onto.
Yes, I can see that. I can see the selfie you just sent me.
Yep, I just sent you a selfie. As you can see, I am covered in blood. It is raining blood on me.
You should probably go inside.
I should probably go inside, yeah.
Do you have any contact with the outside world besides me right now? Or is this cloud of blood and bones and ash and detritus?
That's right.
Blocking off your communication to the outside world.
Despite our best efforts,
turn on your TV to perhaps a local public access station or something of the sort, and tell me what you see.
Yep, it is static. It's always static, and the static is actually sort of forming into a skeletal face.
Okay.
The
Okay.
face is speaking, but it's a language I
What is
can't
it?
comprehend.
Well, listen hard. Maybe turn up the volume or listen harder.
Okay, let me turn up the volume. All the same.
Hello? Damien? Darrien? Okay, folks, that is, I imagine that this would be the end of
Hello?
the...
Hello? Can you
Oh,
hear me?
no!
Hello?
Oh,
Hello? Can you hear me?
hi,
Um,
Darrien.
my house has burst into flames.
Okay.
The
You,
skeletal face spoke some sort of incantation. My house is extremely on fire.
okay, can you perhaps, duck out through a window?
I've tried to open a window, and they are as hot as molten iron. I can't get a grip on any of the doorknobs, or window sashes, or anything like
Can
that.
you maybe
I am trapped.
throw yourself through a window?
I could certainly try here. Let me go. No, they are completely unbreakable. The glass itself is as hard as iron.
Okay, well, on that note, I think that we should end this
We should
episode.
I should
Yeah,
probably wrap up the episode
yes.
and try to survive.
Let's wrap up the episode. True-blooded Americans, thank you once again for tuning in to the inaugural quarantine episode of the Cynics Roundtable.
Yep. Thank you for joining us, for taking a seat at the round table that has been shoved into a corner, to a 9-degree corner angle. At the moment, it's just us two sitting here, but we like to imagine that the third seat is taken up by
By a
the
beautiful
listener.
woman.
A beautiful, busty woman.
All right. And we wish you good night and preserve your freedoms at all costs.
Thanks as always for listening, Cynics, and don't forget, stay cynical.
Stay cynical.